welcome to the Two Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, he's Robbie Earl, and here are today's topics. Gabriel Martinelli plays hero for Arsenal in successive matches, with Sunday's late equalizer lifting the Gunners to a draw against Manchester City. Chelsea lose their cool in a 2-1 loss at Manchester United as questions arise on Enzo Maresca's decision-making after going down to 10 men. And Liverpool keep up their undefeated streak rolling with a 2-1 victory against Everton in a testy Merseyside derby. That's what we have coming up in today's episode. But Robbie Earl, my friend, I know you're still there.
I'm still in Kansas City, Missouri.
What a fan
I'm
fest
sightseeing and finding a little bit about the city. You know, that's one of the great things when we travel with the fan fest. It was 11th one that we've done. And it's great just to see other parts of the US that you might not have seen, Rob. But as ever, an incredible weekend of football, some incredible scenes at the Farinage where the Fan Fest was held in Kansas City, Missouri. And just again, the gratitude of people who came to see us, to interact with us and thank us for what we do. It's quite overwhelming, really, when so many people keep saying so many nice things.
Yeah, and we can return the thanks right back to them, Rob, can't we? Because what an amazing kind of atmosphere it was. Different sort of location. I know we're trying to make our fan fests a little different, different cities, different venues, different types of venues. Just felt like a stadium. We certainly got the noise on that. I think I said afterwards that it was. Our last kind of the overriding kind of memory would be the noise, the first, like the roar of the fans, like when goals went in or at the start of the whole thing was pretty amazing. So
it was a sound man's nightmare of all that going on. We got ears, we can't hear Rebecca speak, we're lip reading, we're trying to get going. But in some respects, Rob, that's the beauty of being out there. That's what it's all about. It's not as controlled, it's not as clinical. But it was a brilliant time, and we thank everybody in Kansas City for coming out. Right, man, let's get to the football, because it was a really interesting weekend of football, the way that the fixtures turned out. We're going to start with the Sunday game, the biggest game probably of the weekend, Arsenal hosting Manchester City, an Arsenal team that had lost 1-0 to Liverpool earlier in the season, where they played particularly well, but there was a bit of criticism about maybe is Mikel Arteta going for things? Is he prepared to let his team take the risk to get the reward? Yesterday's game, Rob, and we are doing the podcast today because obviously we weren't able to fit it in yesterday. So apologies for any other fans who are looking for it on the Sunday. This is Monday when we're doing it. But in reflection, Rob, will Mikel Arteta have regrets again?
It's a really difficult one. And this is really the crux of it all right now, isn't it? His team selections, and the amount that he's prepared to risk to go and win a game. Now, just to remind people, the midfield, I just think there was two areas here, Rob. There was a midfield three. There was Declan Rice, it was Martin Zubimendi, and it was Mikel Moreno, which are kind of similar. It's a stronger, more powerful midfield. So he went with that when he could have played Eze as a number 10. He also could have played Eze on the left wing, and that was the other key decision. He went with Leandro Trossard, who's kind of a reliable, tried and tested. He could have had Eze out there. Obviously, he could have had Martinelli that came into the game. So those are the decisions. And I suppose we're hitting on the big overriding question straight away, Rob.
Yeah.
Because one, the changes were made. We don't need to go over. The first half was not great from Arsenal. I thought they lacked any cohesion. They lacked any creativity. It was stodgy, the passing. They couldn't play through City. They didn't ask them enough questions. They get caught on a counter-attack. They're 1-0 down. And then the manager is forced into, or it's easier to make the decisions then, Rob, to make the attacking substitutions. And it looked a lot better. The question is, and I've not answered just yet, but I want to get your take on it first. Should he have gone with something more adventurous at the start of the game, or do you understand I don't know, the risk element and not wanting to really have a bad start the season with a heavy loss if he went for it too much?
It's a good question. I'm going to chuck back with either a question to you or play slight devil's advocate. When the teams were named, Rob, and we were talking before back, I think I'm right in saying you said That's a powerful midfield for Arsenal. Will Manchester City be able to cope with that?
Yeah.
So in that degree, you kind of there was before the game or when the team was named, you can understand why he went with that 3. Now, if that game stays at 0-0, he makes a sub and you get the 1-0 win.
Yeah.
I think you look at that and go, that's good management within the game. I kind of understood why he did it. And I understand why people say, well, as it came on, different time of the game, different sort of situation. I kind of get it, Rob. What I would say is, my question would be, and it's not necessarily what I would do, it's what he would do. Do you think he would take that back? I found the day, my overriding, I was thinking about it this morning before we got on, is I thought this game would give me a better indication of Arsenal. And it hasn't. It's left me in exactly the same place. I'm still unsure about Arsenal. That's why I've said I think Liverpool will win the title. There's still an unsurety about Arsenal in the big games, Rob. And I'll just chuck another slight angle in, which was often been pushed at Pep. And I know we in football kind of like to put people in boxes or put things in situations. Is it I'm hearing some senses like, is Mikel Arteta overthinking things in these big games rather than letting his team play as we know Arsenal can play?
I just quite possibly Martin Odegaard is the difference here, right?
Yeah,
Martin Odegaard, the captain of the club, is a different sort of midfield player.
Yeah,
when I talked about the power, Rob, then if it's going to be a power game, make it a power game. Be all over City when they have possession. High press, high energy, intensity, get the fans involved. But they didn't play a power game with power midfield players. They didn't. It was a technical game. And then it was like, there's not enough technicality in there.
No creativity, was it?
If they would have gone with a real strong, aggressive front foot, which I expected, then it might have been different, but they didn't. So if they're not going to do that, then you don't play 3 players in there that are very similar and they can offer the power and the physicality and the pressing ability.
So the question is, Rob, did they want to play that power game, but just couldn't get at it?
Well,
because we saw that Arsenal that's passing square inside.
Yeah, it's no good, is it?
Not really going there. And not that City want to do a mid-block, I think people call him, but, sitting in there and just being numbers behind the ball. But City were doing it reasonably comfortably.
Yeah. Well, they were. Yeah, and City aren't brilliant without the ball. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Doku, the others, they don't really want to be, tracking and making them run. And I think our comments at half-time was like, you've got to make City work more than that. It was easy for them just to sit in a mid-block or a little bit higher and win the ball back. So going back to it, Rob, we're given the approach, right? Given the approach that the team came out with, which has got to be on the manager, then there should have been a more technical player in there. Now, whether it's Erebuchi Eze, which it should have been Eze, or Ethan Nwaneri that's done that, the manager still doesn't trust either one of those players in the absence of Martin Odegaard, that the technical side is going to give City a bigger problem than the physical side. And so when we look forward, Rob, about learnings, I really hope. And the second half, by the way, again, it wasn't easy in the Fan Fest to get a real, study it as much as we can study it in the studio with different angles and replays, and we can control things. It looked like it was Rice and Zubimendi with Eze as a 10, a proper 10, not an 8 like Odegaard plays. Now I like that. I like that because you get the protection, a little bit more protection. You don't worry about Eze not doing his thing in midfield as a number 8. And 8s are meant to kind of come back and help a little bit. I really like that. So going forward, if Odegaard's out of the picture, I kind of like that setup, Rob, more, whether it's Martinelli or whatever on the side. So do you think I want to move on to other things in the game, Rob, but do you think that finally for that midfield, is he going to learn? Are we going to see that midfield again?
It's interesting you said
toughest games.
It's interesting you've posed a question. Does he trust these players? Whether it's an Eze in and a little less muscle and physicality to go creative. My bigger question is, and I think this is like I've been trying to say for a while. And if you go back to our first call, there's something still with all these signings that still makes me think there's something missing. Does Mikel Arteta trust himself? Does he trust himself in these big games? Does he take a slightly cautious approach that going to keep his team in the game. They're not going to get blown away as they didn't at Liverpool and they didn't in this game. But that might be the difference. That might be the 5-6 points difference between them and the champions.
Yeah, and maybe because it's so early in the season, Rob, he doesn't want to. If this is later on and he's 5 points behind or 3 points behind, he might be a bit. I don't know. I think a lot of pundits out there, Rob, and when on the fly, I sort of check around what's being said and stuff, and there's a lot that's being said by our colleagues in the Sky and their reactions to it. Like, come on, you got to take risks sometimes. And I know Roy Keane. We see Roy now and again when we go to the UK, and always interested in his thoughts. And his thought was, which is gold, really. When we were at United with Sir Alex Ferguson, he's a risk taker. He took risks, and we won. And that might be the crux of this. Whether he on the other side of this in coming into this game, right? We're going to play as a midfield. We haven't got Odegaard. I want a creative type in there to be something a little different. We've talked about it many times, Rob, about the three players that make up a midfield three. They've got to be a little bit different. And I don't know whether, also side note, maybe for another show, Zubimendi and Rice. I don't know. I still don't. I'm not convinced that Rice is an 8. I'm just not. It doesn't create enough, doesn't score enough. That's another. We don't want to go into that one as well now.
Maybe certain days, different opposition it is, but it's a little bit into the weeds. But I mean, it's in a little extra thinking. It's going to be interesting now on the next big game, the next one when it's Arsenal v something. What approach the manager has. And
he's got options, Rob, hasn't he? He's got more options than he's ever had before.
He's got more options than he's ever had. It's how he uses them options to get the result. Let's just quickly turn to City as well, Rob, because I tipped them. Thought I fancied them to nick the game. I just felt the way it would go. Haaland gets his goal. They sit in the mid block. It's a City kind of performance and result that isn't the way Pep wants to do things, but he was prepared to sacrifice. Thought a couple of keeping. I thought Roger was outstanding, mate. They talked about, was it 3 games in 8 days? Somebody who's just come up, for the long-term injury. I thought he was brilliant. I thought Doku was a real threat on the other side. He's playing with confidence now. We see what the best of Doku can do and where he can get on the pitch. I thought Haaland for an hour is the threat. He runs away. We had a great breakdown where he runs away from Gabriel, a fitter. And, I know they've had a lot of games recently, so Pep had to take him off. But I thought there was some good performances. Look, Gvardiol, Rob, at the back for thing was solid next to Diaz, which is something defensively City are going to have to be better at if they're going to go close. And I thought the goalkeeper, by the way, mate, Big Donna, Big Gigi, by the way, you're going to have to work hard.
It's a presence.
Get past him. He's impressive, isn't he? Comes for the corners. He's 6'6". He's commanding. It looks like any shot's going to have to be right in the corners. I mean, Martinelli's goal's a wonderful goal that it's a really clever finish over a big goalkeeper, to be fair to him. But I think there was positives for City and prepared to dig it out another different way. They didn't get the win, but obviously go and get a point.
Unusual, mate. We've never seen Pep put a 5-4-1 deliberately across there. There's a couple of reasons. Afterwards in a rambled kind of press conference, he did. The 2 days extra rest. His Champions League game on a Thursday. Is very different. We don't often get that. No Europa League games. And Arsenal's was on the Tuesday. So I think he said they were very, very tired, and he blocked it up. And we very rarely, if ever, and it's not the way he wants to go. This isn't anybody out there thinking this is a new Pep idea. This is not Pep's anywhere near what he wants to do. But sometimes, and fair play to him, he realised my team are exhausted. I ain't got a ton of options on the bench. I'm going to bring all my defenders on, 5 across the back, 4 across midfield,
centre-back,
and grind out.
I think he had 6 centre-backs at one time.
Game. And back on, just the spirit of the team, Rob. We City have got a ton of talent, and they've been magnificent in this Premier League. But we shouldn't underestimate the emotional kind of strength they've got. And a little Bernardo Silva's another player throwing there, Rob. He's a little dude. You don't go in there. I bet he never goes in the gym and does any weights and stuff. But he scurries around. He closes down. He helps out stop Arsenal's midfield from trying to play through, like we talked about earlier. They've got a ton of personality.
What else he's got, mate? Which you also, he's got fire in his belly. Considering what he's won and what he's done and where he is, he's a fiery little so-and-so.
So No, fair play to Man City, Rob. I thought they were going to nick it. I thought, like, they're going to see it out, and then Eza comes on, makes that ball. Like none of the other three in midfield, the starters probably couldn't have made that ball. And fair play to Martinelli as well, by the way. Fair play to Martinelli. What a great finish, and for a guy that's been bombed out a little bit, and nobody's talking about him starting on the left in this game. It was other people were going to play. So fair play, brilliant finish.
Just on that, just finishing up, there's a bit of news. Madueke's got a knee injury that they said could be out for a few weeks. They're looking at that one.
Well, Saka's back, I suppose, and that's another.
Martinelli informant is good, but again, injuries for Arsenal is another thing as well that they've got to make sure they've got Saliba back in this game, but might lose Madueke for a few. All right, my friend. Let's move it on to Old Trafford. Always a story, always some drama. Ruben Amorim under a little bit of the spotlight in his team. I'm lost in the Manchester derby and coming into game. I think they started something like 17th. Was it a kickoff against a Chelsea team that we know can be dangerous on the play? We have to go straight really to the sending off, don't we? Robert Sanchez at 5 minutes. It totally changes the game from both teams' point of view. It gives the incentive to United. Sorry, Chelsea. Obviously down to 10 men, have to make changes. Enzo Maresca coming in for some criticism with how he changed, what he changed, and what he did to the team. Didn't really look like he gave Chelsea a chance of winning the game. But let's focus on United first, Rob. Was this weekend more just about a win than anything else?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think so. It takes the pressure off a little bit. It quietens the noise a little bit. And fair play, they deserve that, because I thought their approach from minute one was excellent. Very quick start, pushed Chelsea back, asked questions of Chelsea. Do you fancy it? It's lashing down the rain in the northwest. You've had Champions League football and stuff. Are you ready for this? They weren't ready for it, and they forced the issue. They forced a red card. They played the ball in behind. Robert Sanchez, to be fair, has been okay. I feel like this season, Rob. I think me, you, and the whole world would think that Chelsea probably should try and upgrade the goalkeeper at some point. It was not done in the summer. He makes a bad decision on the 4th or 5th minute where he's nowhere near the ball, and it's the correct call, and Chelsea are under pressure. But again, it was a mix of us, Man United's very positive start, and fair play to Amorim, Rob, and the United players and the fans as well, by the way. This we've been there many times, and we've seen the fans. They get behind that team every single week, and no matter how they're doing. And fair play, good start, real strong pressure. They forced Chelsea into those errors. I thought it was deserved victory, Rob, from Manchester United throughout the game. Throughout the game with different problems that they had. Casemiro we'll get onto, but I just thought this was more of United's start forcing this game as much as I got to say Chelsea had a bad day, Rob. Didn't see anything from Chelsea throughout. The manager made those changes. 2 changes when you get a sent-off goalkeeper, which is unusual. You have Pedro Neto come off. You have Estevao come off. It kind of changed the mindset. I don't think Chelsea ever looked comfortable with 10 men. No. And we've done this.
Back 3, didn't he?
Yeah. And we've seen it many times where 10 men can be hard to break down, Rob, can't we? But it wasn't. I just thought Chelsea, Rob, apart from everything else, they weren't at the races.
No, and I think that's why Enzo Maresca is coming in for a little bit of criticism. I have to go to the captain first of all, Rob, Bruno Fernandes, 100 goal for Manchester United. I know he gets his criticism, but doesn't often come up in big moments. And the first goal was important because the longer the game stayed at 0-0, the more maybe Chelsea might have got themselves into it. Casemiro gets a good header, and we'll talk about his 2 yellow cards in a moment. I suppose from Chelsea's point of view, and Maresca might say, well, I got my goalkeeper sent off in under 5 minutes. Cole Palmer, best player, only lasts, 20 minutes? Yeah. And then looks like he's got a recurrence of the groin injury that's had him out for a while, and they're worried about what that might look like long term. So I can see some reason. Just finishing a little bit with Chelsea and the substitutions, and maybe this is too simplistic. Maybe these other factors to this. But I'm looking at Chelsea, mate, who haven't really got much of a threat. They're playing Pedro really as a lone striker and trying to get 1 or 2 players underneath him to join. And you've got Alejandro Garnacho, who's signed for your football club, who's a little fiery dude who could be a pantomime baddie who wants to go on and prove a point to a manager who hasn't fancied him. I couldn't believe that Garnacho didn't get on the pitch for Chelsea.
No, I didn't. I read, Rob, and again, I think I think a Chelsea player had an injury, and I think there was one sub left or something, and
so
he changed. A player had a problem. Was it Wesley Fofana or somebody had a problem, Rob? What there he's had to make another change that didn't allow Garnacho. I might be wrong, and I just, with everything that was going on and stuff like that.
Maybe you're right.
I think there was
that's the reason in itself. Apologies, but I couldn't believe, and maybe like you say, Maresco was frustrated. He couldn't get him on because one time he was talking to him on the sideline, and like you say, maybe in that
somebody had a problem.
Got a bit of an injury, had to come off. He had to get another defender on, and he lost the opportunity. But there was really no threat from Chelsea, and obviously they get something Chelsea are going to have to do with this squad is balance between Champions League. Obviously they got beat by Bayern in the week, and the weekends. A Chelsea team that, without the goalkeeper, you would think should want to go to Old Trafford and think they could win that game. They're a better team than Manchester United right now, but they didn't give them a chance to get the 3 points.
A bit like what you sense with Arsenal, Rob, about something missing. I sense that with Chelsea. I really like the manager's kind of tactical kind of flair. Some of the young players are great, but there is something missing at Chelsea. Like there's something missing, like in a performance like that, in a game like that. I don't know. We know what John Terry did, whether it's a sort of a leadership thing, a spirit thing, a steel determination. I don't know. There's still something that's a little flaky. Maybe it's because there's a majority is a young team.
Players,
I don't know. I just was disappointed with Chelsea, and it's going to be very easy, my friend, for people to jump on this club and this manager with the money that's been spent and the philosophy of young, trade, instead of let's just why didn't we do what we've always done and buy the finished article and try and buy players to win titles right now? That's always the overriding kind of grey cloud that's nearby, in my opinion. I have no problem with what they're doing, but I totally understand those that say, where are we going? Like, we haven't got any better, type of thing. So
some are suggesting, aren't they, like the team of 2-3 years ago isn't much better than the team 3 years on. We spent a shed load of money, but and we all just even confirming it was the Fofana injury actually that caused Garnacho not to come on. So apologies to he's obviously hands were tied and he's probably a bit frustrated. He couldn't chuck Garnacho on as well. Just on the Casemiro one quickly, mate. There's one weekend where he makes a first foul. I think we all understand he's going to get a yellow card for that one. And he just before the half time, he challenges a Chelsea player, puts his arms around the player. It's not much of a hold. He gets a challenge and he gets the ball. It's a foul, Rob. It's apparently, what was he holding the player back, denying him the
promising attack. attack. If you foul, it's a promising attack.
It's a yellow card offence. I just felt the referee could have looked at that another way. Now, I don't know if VAR had said to him, you've got to go the yellow. It's a foul. It's a yellow. It's a second yellow. You've got to go. But sometimes we've got to manage these games and we've got to have referees who are big enough to say, Casemiro, be careful. You're on one. Anything like that. Again,
I think those days are gone, Rob. I think those days have gone, And
so sense goes out the window now.
I think you can't have any. I think they're probably saying there's no wiggle room for a common sense because what's one referee's common sense and another one in a different game. We've just got to do it by the book and by the.
I would say common sense is that it's piddling down with rain. You're a midfield player. You rush around, understand what's going on in the game. Be part of the game. Don't be robotic and come in and that's what I think. Fans want. That's what people want. We want honesty. Listen, if he goes right through the back of the player and it's one of those, like you go, come on, Casemiro, you've got to know better than that. But a midfield combative player who's just made a contact with the player and then wins the ball, that to me is not a second yellow.
On the other side of the coin, Rob, like the first challenge from Casemiro, what are you doing? The first challenge is an awful lunge in. It's a and the referee said, well, why is he doing that in the first place? That's a silly
point, though.
It's like a silly challenge, and then puts him under pressure. And then when others would argue, well, he pulls him back, he's stopping an attack. It's the correct call. So
maybe you make a good point in that at the weekend when it happened, the first one, and we've seen a few of those first challenges for such a coveted international footballer who's won so much and is so experienced. And I remember saying to Tim, as Gimma said, he's one of them you're going to have to watch Casemiro, because he can't help himself about going in on fouls. Now, again, I thought the one he got, the second yellow, was a little harsh.
Yeah.
But he's also got to learn to control his emotion a little bit better.
The first one, just not needed. Absolutely not needed. Casemiro continues to sort of delight you sometimes with the things he does and frustrate you in others. So it was, it just made it awkward. And as the manager said afterwards, Rob, we make things complicated. And he means that there should have been 10 men, let's win 1 or 2 goals.
Yet it wasn't. I mean, Chelsea get one back to Chalobah, the last 10 minutes now, but everybody's biting the nails again. But I would say, Rob, just on that, and it was good 3 points and however they won it. Away at Brentford next weekend is hugely important for Manchester United now. Go and put back-to-back wins together. I think it'll be the first time Emery's done it. Back-to-back Premier Leagues, and let's start a little run. Let's start a little run now to the international break. Okay, a team who were on a run. Let's go to Anfield, mate. Merseyside Derby was our first game of the weekend. Plenty of Liverpool fans in attendance at the FanFest in Kansas City. A Liverpool teammate who, I mean, the narrative's set. Liverpool win games, not playing particularly well, still got to integrate some of the best players. It was a Merseyside derby where the manager is confident and comfortable enough to play the 2 most expensive players in British history are sitting on the bench. I mean, there aren't many clubs and managers where that's going to happen, mate. You signed the 2 biggest record signing players in British history, and you're sitting them down next to you in a Merseyside derby.
He went back to tried and tested midfield, Rob, didn't he? And that midfield is such a, obviously Szoboszlai's done a great job at right back, but you play him as a right 8. Remember, they play 3 in midfield pretty much, with McAllister kind of left, a little deeper, but he does get forward, and Szoboszlai on the right. And Ryan Gravenberch, Rob, who we obviously got to give him a special mention. I think I said on the show yesterday or the day before when the game, it's like, there's nothing he can't do. There's literally nothing he can't do on a football pitch. The goal is I want to say world-class finish.
It's a centre-forward goal, mate. It's a proper
It's incredible timing. The timing, the contact, the direction, the thought, the trying to get it past the goalkeeper on the other side. Let alone his tackling, his covering. He's always on the right side, covering his right fullback, the young Conor Bradley, to help him out a little bit. He can pass it. He gets forward. He's the whole package. And Arne Slot last year, and I think we're going to see it again this year, Rob, there's a fluidity about this midfield where Ryan Gravenberch is never going to be in the same spot. You're never going to see him as a deep guy. Because there's not. Szoboszlai was the holding player when Gravenberch makes his run through. And, and Florian Wirtz, Rob, it's sat on the bench. I tell you what's going to happen. With this. That in my opinion, Florian Wirtz as an out-and-out 10 is going to be difficult for him to be effective. I think you're going to see Florian Wirtz play in 2 positions. I think he's going to play a right. I think he's going to play a right 8 and a left high. The Cody Gakpo. And I think Liverpool are going to rotate. They're going to move around. They've tried to. I don't know why. You could have a midfield of Gravenberch holding, Florian Wirtz to his right, busy, good on the ball, a bit like a McAllister type, Rob, instead of a number 10. A real he's super technical, but I think he's going to be more of an 8. And you have an 8 on the side that would be McAllister or Szoboszlai, Wirtz with Gravenberch holding. There's a ton of options.
I mean, right now, I'm a Gravenberch lover. I said he was my outstanding player from what he's done. And like you say, he's not just a sitter. He's very clever. He often goes over to that right-hand side where you see he plays balls through for the Ekitike goal. Yeah. He can do the 8 role. He's got great football IQ and athleticism. But Szoboszlai, Rob, is for me is a must starter. I think he brings an energy that they miss when he's not there.
Well, you say must starter, you can't have them all.
Yeah, I know. So right now, Wirtz is sitting on the outside of that. The balance there's times Szoboszlai's athleticism to start the press, he's runs in behind to stretch back fours is an important part of Liverpool's play. Wirtz doesn't do. I haven't seen Wirtz do that yet. He looks more of a technical footballer. So maybe in certain games,
I wonder if that's going to morph, Rob. I guess that's what I'm saying. I wonder if he's going to start playing a little bit more like a Szoboszlai and be a bit more down the right channel,
possibly.
And more, instead of
really
sitting in the
make
10.
as well about Liverpool, the mix. Like we started the show with Arsenal, like that Liverpool mix just feels you've got a bit of all the different elements you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because with Szoboszlai and the three from last year, you know, are they that more technical than the Arsenal three that they started with? I guess McAllister's probably more technical than Declan Rice is. But no, I think with Florian Wirtz, it's still a wonderful addition to a midfield. But I don't think we're going to see. I just think he's going to be more of an 8. I think the Arne Slot is going to morph that a little bit into. And I think you're right. I think he will play on the left to give Gakpo a rest. There's great options there.
I've got two thoughts on the game. Well, on the basis of the game. Let me go to one more player. Ekitike, my friend, plays at the top end of the pitch, scores a goal, looks very comfortable with his build-up.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know, settled very well in the dressing room as one of the guys. Is there a point, you know, when Isak's sitting on the side, who will come into the team, who will make them better, who will score goals in that team? Absolute guarantee.
Yeah.
Does Ekitike find a place in the team at that point?
I think at times, at times, and we know that Isak's a little delicate. You know, obviously he'll play in certain games. I don't. It's hard to see him together. I think the manager said that he hasn't ruled out the possibility of playing 4-4-2 with Isak and Ekitike as a front two. That would be interesting in some games. I think he will try him on the left-hand side. I mean, the fact is, mate, that Ekitike is not gonna be the guy. He's not gonna be the main guy. He's just not. When Isak's fit and healthy, he's going to be the 9. He's going to be the main guy. And Ekitike will get to play some games, sometimes on the left, maybe as a 10. I don't know. It's I guess it's a nice problem to have for Arne Slot. But I think, you know, I agree with all the narrative around Liverpool. They've won their games without being at their best. This team, I mean, when we check in again in March, when they've had a load of months together, it could be an outstanding football team with a ton of options, fluidity. It's Arne Slot's job now, Rob, to make this brilliant squad work in different ways. And Wirtz might have to work in a different way. Ekitike might have to work in a different way. You know, that's going to be the challenge, because if you can get all your best players out there, even though it might not be in their thought of favourite spots, then you're in business. Now, But that's what he's got to do. Talk about Wirtz, talk about Ekitike.
It's interesting though that this line that, you know, it's 5 wins in 5. I've sort of, you know, a perfect start with imperfect performances, and they got it done. I'm always a little bit like the Arne Slot. Like, will we be 10 games in, 10 straight wins, and we're saying, well, we still haven't. I mean, are we sometimes worrying about something? They're just as likely to, you know, for players to kick into gear than not. No, Mo Salah's not really got going yet. I don't think at the level that he is. McAllister, I think, he had a bit of injury at the start of the season. I don't think he's fully firing at his best yet. So there's still players within the team. You know, Kirkes, I still think, is finding his feet and positionally how he plays with Van Dijk. But I kind of feel like I don't think it's as big a worry as some people are trying to make out. Like, we're not playing that well. Oh, they're losing goals there. They've won 5 in 5, mate. And if they continue to go like they go, the other imperfect teams that also haven't got the balance or don't go for Man City inconsistency and all that, they're gonna find themselves a good number of points clear if we get to Christmas with a squad that can rotate with deeper numbers than we've had in the past. We still might be saying, well, they're still not going that well. I mean, still not. They might end up the season still not going that well champions.
Yeah. I mean, the second half, Rob, was not great for Liverpool. They sort of dropped off. They conceded a goal. Yeah. They're not hanging on, but they didn't dominate, control
problems on the wide, didn't he? That left-hand side, Dewsbury Hall made good runs.
So I think the same as we said last time, Rob, that the fact the bits that they're not great at right now, that if that goes away, then wow, like you know, it's tough for anybody to catch them if they're going to get a lot. But it might not go away. and it might still be an issue. Why are they still giving up chances? Why can't they control the game with real possession and really boss that game against Everton? They just kind of let it go a little bit in the second half. These are all things that we'll find out in the next few weeks, Rob, and maybe repeating ourselves a little bit from last time without being great right now. But I mean, of course, winning games, not being everything grooved is amazing. Let's just see whether they improve and that doubts and the weaknesses go away, or whether it's still there and they start dropping points because if they do continue to give up chances or not dominate throughout, they will find some games particularly difficult, and we just have to wait and see on that.
Okay, my friend, there's a bit of a theme that has started. We're 5 games into a Premier League season. There's talk that one or two managers are under fire. Graham Potter certainly would be one of those. I mean, some rumours that, they're looking at an interim between now and the end of the season. That Potter is under real pressure. A 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace. Another goal conceded from a corner. Bad defending yet again. I mean, Potter's starting to get to the must-win game soon or out the door situation.
Well, it seems like it. I mean, we're going to talk about 3 games and 3 managers that are under a little bit of pressure already. It's 5 games in, Rob. I still think, and I'm off the pace on this one, mate. With all that we do, maybe I always feel like Rebecca asked me a question about should somebody get fired? Are they about to get fired? And I say, well, we're still early. Let's give them. And I feel like that. I'm not crazy, and I know that you can't keep being in the second bottom in the league, after having time last year and a preseason and some new players. I get it, but I still think 5 games in, a few more, please, like that. But it seems like I'm the outside guy, and everyone's saying where he's going to go. 24 hours, and Graham Potter's going to get a phone call, and by we're recording this at Monday, kind of lunchtime Monday, and maybe it's going to happen imminently, but I would just think a few more games. Let's see if he can start to find something before you start. It's 5 games in. There's 33 games left. And the commitment you make to a new manager, Rob, and the staff and everything else, and and it seems very easy for me, you, or any pundit or fan to say, fire him, let's get somebody else in. But it's kind of more than that in a football club, and it's a big adjustment. I don't know.
I suppose the problem becomes, and even circumstances, I think, are interesting. So when you've got Burnley, Leicester, and Southampton are in the league, and they're not winning games, and you're not getting that far detached, I think. But on the basis that the 3 promoted teams all look reasonably competitive, on the basis that 3 more games, let's say he gets 4 more games, that's 12 points, he wins 1 of them, there could be a 8, 9, 10 point gap, Rob, between that. And I think that's what owners are looking at somebody like Graham Potter and go, well, we gave him the run. He wanted his own preseason. He got the preseason. We got some of the players he wanted.
Yeah.
He's got, hold on. And now Sunderland are going pretty well. Leeds are winning games. By the time we give him 3 more games, we could get to October and we could be 10 points adrift of teams.
This is assuming, Rob, that somebody else can come in and do a much better job straight away.
Correct.
That's assuming that.
It's just almost saying, let's try something else. Because the way this is going, this isn't going to keep us up. And listen, I'm with you. I'd like to see Graham Potter get at least 2 or 3 more games.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, come on, Graham, come on, man. We believe, and we spent time with him. We got to know him reasonably well. I mean, his football philosophy, his coaching, his work on the training ground. That now is all up for test, mate. That now is all up for test. Graham Potter's standing as a Premier League manager is up for test in the next 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. I said this when I think most people agreed that this feels like a good fit. Potter's football at this club, it's good size for him. And I remember saying, Rob, this is a definitive job for Graham Potter. Who is Graham Potter? We're going to find out during or after his time at West Ham United. If it doesn't go well, which it isn't right now, and if he gets a few more jobs or a few more games, or he doesn't, then that's it. Then that's definitive. You're not a Premier League manager. You're going to have to go down the league. You're going to go down into the Championship, and you have to.
A few years ago, being taking Chelsea and talking about Big Six and the next, England manager and all that.
I mean, no one's going to take him, Rob, are they? Who's going to? Is there another Premier League club that would take him?
Probably have to go Championship. Come up with somebody,
or one of the ones. If one of the promoted ones go through a bad time or something.
Right, look at it.
I don't know.
But the problem is, if now when he needs to win games, he isn't winning them. You're going to look back and say, actually, when it was on, he didn't get me the wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, Unai Emery, Aston Villa, not great. Things not particularly going well for them. Only one goal scored at the weekend against Sunderland. Apparently shook hands and went down the tunnel a little bit before the end of the game in frustration, I think, at what he's seen. I think we both sort of had this kind of very weird feeling at Villa at the start of the season, like something's just not right. They've lost a little bit of their fizz, and we go back to the Champions League, and they didn't get in the competition. The goal that was ruled out for Morgan Rogers. They end up in the Europa League. It just feels like they lose one or two players. Ramsey goes to Newcastle, PSR numbers and things. Just feels like the club needs to unite itself again. He's a top manager. I have every confidence that he'll get Villa back up the league and more competitive in all competitions. But he even shows even the great experienced managers may go through difficult times.
Yeah, this is probably the most surprising thing of the season so far, Rob. Aston Villa. And the longer it goes, all of a sudden, them little spotlights that fly that go on different clubs and stuff and different managers, it's all going to come on Unai Emery soon. And I don't get it. And I do get it. I understand the staleness thing that we've talked about and not adding the excitement that they thought they were going to do for the Champions League. I get the fans are a little flattered, but this is what Unai Emery gets paid for, Rob. The good times, you're going to love them. This is a bad time right now for Unai. And now it's going to show us all that you can find a reset button or do something. It's crazy. It's amazing. One goal scored. They can't, Sunderland away. They have a man extra, didn't they? Did they have a man extra? There was a sending off, wasn't there?
Yeah, Sunderland had a man sent off.
The fullback sent off in the first 35. 35 minutes. And it's a team. It's crazy. It's crazy. And when you're not going well, you're not going well. And he's got to find a way to do it. I don't think he's in our little segment here of managers under pressure.
5 games in, managers under pressure.
Yeah. And of course, for what he's done at the club before. But we're not throwing him in that. We're not throwing him in the pressure too much. But it's just like, wow, this is a very surprising start that's gone on now. That's 5 games. And, usually you'd expect, you can understand the first couple of games or something, but they start winning again. And they're way too good to be anywhere near the bottom 3. But they are right now. And that's why we just mentioned them. So it's like, okay, we're just looking at this and with the thought of, if it doesn't start winning, then there's going to be spotlight from the media, from the local papers, everything to say, well, hang on, what's changed, Unai? Why this isn't right? We shouldn't be down here. The pressure will mount.
So here's one for you. Will a manager who's just been given a 3-year contract this week, hasn't won a point in the league, has lost 5 games, would he be under pressure if that continues? If so, why would you give him a 3-year contract during last week?
Don't know, mate. This is a weird one for me. I'm very, very worried about Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think we both were.
Both had them. I had them to get relegated.
Yeah, I didn't, but you did. Yeah. And with the signings that weren't made and the players, some of their best players, again, Mateus Cunha and Ryan Aït-Nouri that he left for City and Cunha for Man United, they've sold more of their best players. They're bottom of the league table, right? After what's happened, they like the manager, and I think he's done a brilliant job. They give him a new contract. Yeah. I just wonder if they know this is going to be a difficult one to stay up. Yeah. This is going to be difficult. I think Wolves. Oh, are they planning for a future like they accepting that they can't do enough to stay in the league? No, I can't imagine they would.
Please don't tell me that.
But why give him a new contract then?
Because I think they believed in the guy who did what he did at the second half. The second half of the season, the form was good. He got the group together. They talk like Sven Larsson was going to go and whatever. So it's almost like, no, this is a group. This is a guy. He's good enough. We're all going to get out of problems. I feel it's like one of those from the ownership group, which is fine, but also means to me you're going to have to stick with this guy.
Okay.
and give him the,
because he's done it. He did it, didn't he, Rob? He did it last year. He's shown he can do it. So I guess they're saying you can do it again, I suppose.
No, the only reason I can assume you say here's a 3-year contract is because you believe, a bit like you're saying Graham Potter needs time. They're saying, I'm going to give you time. He'll get us out.
We've seen enough, yeah. Well, that's a shocker, mate. At home to Leeds United and to 3-1 at home against Leeds United, a newly promoted side.
They were 1-0 up as well. Went on 1-0 up, didn't they? And they're away at Spurs next weekend. 3 o'clock game on USA. Spurs versus Wolves. So not an easy place to go with Thomas Frank's team. No.
The one thing that we've talked about with Vitor Pereira, Rob, is his confidence in interviews and press conferences.
Yeah.
After the game, I've never seen him look so down.
Flat out.
And not he last year he said, we ain't going to go down. We're not going down. We're too good. We're going to play entertaining football. You're going to see. I don't just want to win. I want to win with style. All these quotes that we were like, oh, well, okay. And to be fair, he did it. He did it. But this time, I expected a similar, after the game, I expected a similar sort of confident Pereira, and it was very low-key. I don't know. He didn't have anywhere near the same confidence that we saw last year, Rob, when he went in there and in a difficult situation, got him out of trouble. So again, this is in our little section of strugglers. They're struggling, but it looks like they're going to back their man. New contract. Whatever happens, we'll see.
Okay, my friends, moving on quickly, let's get through a few results of the weekend. So Brighton 2, Fulham 2. Thomas Frank gets another point away from him against the Brighton team that were going well in that game, but had to be a point each for both those teams. Fulham 3, Brentford 1. I was kept an eye on this game. I was doing the weekend. Brentford go 1-0 up through Damsgaard, but I have so much kind of credit, understanding for Marco Silva, what he does, how he plays. Iwobi gets a goal, Wilson gets another, Pinacone goal gets them.
Good team, Rob. A good team, aren't they?
They're a good team. They're well set up, mate. They're well organised, well coached. No big stars. Don't spend loads and loads of money, but do the job well. Burnley 1, Forest 1, and still looking for his first win is Nottingham Forest manager. Burnley coming back and getting a point in that one. And I think it's nice to see that all the 3 teams that come up at least being competitive, Rob. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a Southampton or somebody where they're way off track.
Yeah.
You know, the 20 clubs in the Premier League are going to have to, looks like to me, going to have to go all the way and be all out each week, because it looks like, 1 or 2 could end up in the Championship if you're not careful. Hence why the pressure is on managers.
Yeah. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0, Rob, is another game in it. Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different approach, I thought, from Eddie Howe.
He went 3 at the back, didn't he? And
he dropped off the game a little bit. Didn't want to fight. His former club,
interesting, I thought, though, Rob, to see a different, not the high-intensity press, especially after Champions League, which they played midweek against Barcelona, maybe looking at a different way of playing. He changed the team up a little bit as well, didn't he? No Bruno, no Joe Ellington. He got Lewis Miley in the team and Willock in the team and a few different players. So, obviously just balancing up Champions League and Premier League. And he's got Gordon to come back, who's suspended. And, and we said this saying should be fit after the international window. So, players who can come in. So, no problem for Eddie Howe and the Eddie Howe derby. Listen, mate, we're going to wrap things up. Just have to say again, thank you to Kansas City for all the people who came out and the hospitality and the kindness on a weekend when Liverpool made it 5 wins out of 5 Premier League games. They're still not playing that well, while Arsenal leave it late to take a share of the points at the Emirates. We'll be back next weekend, that's Sunday, September the 28th, when Newcastle will host the Gunners at St James's Park. That's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the USA Network. So 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on USA Network for Newcastle versus Arsenal. But for now, I'm Earl. He's Musty, together with the 2 Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.